Okay, man. All right, y'all. Let's go explain what happened here. Um, on this news here. I was at home playing Call of Duty all throughout the day. I just got off from playing Call of Duty. I got off from playing Call of Duty. I had to go on. I had to get back. I had to turn off the game. I had to turn off the. I had to turn off the game. I had to go to my Roku LE. I had to go to YouTube app. I go to YouTube app. So had to go to SRW's YouTube channel video, and I started finding out that this man who had pioneered cable television news had passed away at the age of 87. And then I knew I watched SRW, had to go skip all the other shit. I had to jump to the tragedy of the guy who had founded cable news network, the guy who had pioneered cable television news, is the media baron Robert Edward Turner III. Everybody knew him professionally as Ted Turner. And I can always gotta find out what happened to him. See, let me explain to you about Turner. Ted Turner, the media maverick and the philanthropist who had founded CNN. Well, I read this while I was out on the road and while I was out on Kelton Avenue reading this from I had to read it from the CNN thing on this phone here. I read this and I said I read that about this man, Ted Turner. The media maverick, and a philanthropist who had founded CNN, a pioneering 24-hour network that revolutionized television news, died peacefully on Wednesday, May the 6th of this year, surrounded by his family, according to a news release from Turner Enterprises. He was 87 years old. He was 87 years old. The Ohio born Atlanta businessman. Yes, the Ohio born Atlanta businessman, nicknamed, he was nicknamed quote unquote, the mouth of the South. Yes, the mouth of the South. For his outspoken nature, built a media empire that encompassed cable's first superstation and popular channels for movies, and at least cartoons, plus professional sports teams like the Atlanta Braves, a team that JD loves so dearly. He was a fan of that team ever since he was a youngster. Turner, he was also an internationally known yachtsman, a philanthropist who founded the United Nations Foundation, an activist who sought the worldwide elimination of nuclear weapons, and a conservationist who became one of the foremost landowners in the United States. He played a crucial role in reintroducing bison to the American West. He even created the Captain Planet cartoon to educate kids about the environment. But it was his audacious vision to deliver the news from around the world, from around the world in real time at all hours that really made him famous once his idea finally took off. In 1991, Turner was named Time magazine's Man of the Year for quote unquote influencing the dynamic of events and turning viewers in 150 countries into 150 countries into the instant the instant witnesses of history. Turner eventually sold his networks to Time Warner and later exited what's it called? Uh, oh yeah, let me start over. Turner eventually sold his networks to Time Warner and later exited the business, but he continued to express the pride in CNN, calling it the greatest achievement of his life. Ted was an intensely involved and committed leader, intrepid, fearless, and always willing to back a hunch to trust his own judgment. Mark Thompson, chairman and chief executive officer of CNN Worldwide, said this in a statement. He was and always will be the presiding spirit of CNN. Ted is the giant on whose shoulders we stand, and we will all take a moment today and recognize him and his impact on our lives and the world. Turner was a legend. He revolutionized the television business by creating the first 24-hour news channel right here at CNN. Wolf Blitzer, Wolf Blitzer said that Wednesday morning, as he announced uh, the CNN founder Turner's death on air on CNN. Yeah, he said this. Yeah, Wolf Blitzer. He said that on Wednesday morning that he announced Turner's death live on the air. So he mentioned this anyway. We're all doing this. Once let me see. Let me see. I can rephrase. The co-anchor for Wolf Blitzer, Pamela Brown, said that we're all here doing this because of Ted. He was the original Christiane Amanpour. Yeah, Christiane Amanpour who was a reporter for CNN, said that he made us all proud. He made us all hopeful. And he made us all strive for his vision of a better world. Just over a month before his 80th birthday in 2018, Turner revealed that he had, what's it called? Uh, the thing that he was diagnosed with. He was diagnosed with Lewy body dementia. It was a progressive brain disorder, but in early last year, Turner was hospitalized with a mild case of pneumonia before recovering at a rehabilitation facility. A rehabilitation facility. Turner is survived. Let me tell you about this. Turner is survived by his 5 children, 14 grandchildren, and 2 great grandchildren. This right here is a revolution that he's going to be launching, a TV news revolution. When Turner began his media career at the age of 24, when he took over his father's billboard company, Turner Outdoor Advertising, in the wake of the elder Turner's suicide. He buried his shock and grief in work. But Turner wasn't content to push other people's products forever. He bought up radio stations, yes. He bought up radio stations, then branched into a television world. And then, let me see, I can read this again. Let me read this. He bought up radio stations, then branched into television in 1970 by acquiring a struggling station in Atlanta known as Channel 17. He tried to boost the ratings by airing old sitcoms and classic films. At one point, at one point even hosting the Academy Award Theater himself. He had to host this thing by himself, man. The Academy Award Theater. Turner, he wasn't even interested in the news yet, not just yet. He decided to invest in sports instead, acquiring the rights acquiring the rights to the Atlanta Braves baseball games. Viewers and advertisers flocked. They flocked to the channel. They started flocking to the channel, and this Turner turned a profit. He started to think bigger about TV. In 1976, he beamed Channel 17's signal up to a satellite, and it became cable TV's first superstation, reaching cable subscribers across the country. Turner brought the Braves team and then the Atlanta Hawks basketball team, partly to keep the long term rights to the television programming, the TV programming, and partly because it was just plain fun. As he built the superstation WTBS, which was now TBS, he set his sights even higher, a 24-hour news channel. Turner was harshly critical of broadcast TV and establishment news judgments. Part of the reason America had so many problems, he believed, was because his fellow Americans were so ill-informed. Former CNN journalist Lisa Napoli wrote in this book. She wrote this in Up All Night, a book that was about the creation of CNN, cable news network. Turner recognized that there was no better place to promote a variety of opinions than on almighty television. With a news channel, he could quite possibly help save the world. A lot of people thought that Turner's ideas were crazy. They're saying this all beyond there, like this. Let me just say it. Let me just say it. You know what I'm saying? Uh, a lot of people thought that Turner's ideas was crazy, but it wasn't. But he saw a huge opening in the marketplace. He saw it in the marketplace, a huge opening in the marketplace. When he once said this, by I worked until 7 o'clock, and when I got home, the news was over. News was over. He once said that referencing he once said by referencing the 6:30 p.m. evening newscasts on the big networks, so I missed television news completely. And I figured there were lots of people like me. Turner wanted to dramatically widen widen the aperture of television news, envisioning shows about business, health, sports, and other subject matter. He admitted he knew diddly squat about the news business, but he recruited the right people who did, like Reese Schonfeld, CNN's founding president. Somebody had to open the door, dude. Somebody gotta open the door, man. I'm about to continue reading this about Mr. Robert Edward Turner. Yes, I'm trying to finish. I'm trying to get ready to continue reading this stuff about Mr. Robert Edward Turner, this third, the media baron. Let me see here. Uh, on June the 1st, 1980, CNN, the first ever 24-hour news channel, went live and has been on the air ever since. Turner quickly expanded, adding a second 24-hour news network, CNN2, else known as CNN2, what was later renamed Headline News and then HLN in 1982, and CNN International, which had broadcast around the world. But in 1985, he later added on non-news cable channels, including Turner Network Television, that's TNT, Turner Classic Movies, that's TCM, and the Cartoon Network. In the mid 1980s, he acquired MGM's library of more than 4,000 old films and stirred up controversy in the film community for colorizing many black and white movies, including the name of the movie is called Casablanca. See, let me explain to y'all. They named a record label has already been named after an old black and white movie. Okay, it's called Casablanca Records. See, the record label have already brought in. They used to bring in people that was already there, including Parliament, uh, Kiss, and who else was there? And Donna Summer, and who else was there? Joan Jett, and the Blackhearts. That record label could have brought them into the label, but they only have Parliament, Donna Summer, and Kiss instead. But that company got sold to Polygram, I think. I think Polygram wants to own that record label. I think it was ever since the death of Neil Bogart. Neil Bogart, who was the head of Casablanca Records, had already released Parliament's music. Yeah, but rest in peace to Neil Bogart. You know what I'm saying? He died in 1982. I think it was cancer. Moving on, moving on. Out of all of his networks, out of all his networks, CNN was always his baby. It will always will be his baby. So, but the network's early years were marked by the technical snafus during its long stretches of live broadcasting, and some critics had dubbed it like quote unquote chicken noodle news. Yet Turner and his deputies knew that they were creating something revolutionary. Well, you know how that goes. I must have lit it up on. Fuck. You had me smoking a cigar like Ted Turner back in the 70s. Shit. Yeah. This is what Ted Turner said. He said that I lived for 20 years in my office. But his office was like CNN's was inside CNN's broadcast building in Atlanta. And he said this again. I lived on a couch in my office the first 10 years. The longtime employees that used to work for CNN, they just recall that Turner is sauntering into the newsroom wearing a bathrobe. Tom Johnson, who was a former CNN president, had recalled and said that he was one of us. He would be in his house coat, down having breakfast in the Hard News Cafe. It was called the company's cafeteria. Yep, yeah, that's called that's called the cafeteria of CNN. Feel me? When the Persian Gulf War broke out in 1990, the importance the importance of a 24-hour the importance of a 24-hour news channel became clear. It was the first time a war was broadcast live, and it was only on CNN. Terry McGurk, who was a former Turner Broadcasting chief executive officer, he said that what made Ted what Ted made happen was just as important as the internet revolution. Turner was let me tell you about this. Turner was hailed as a visionary and learned Time magazine's Man of the Year in 1991. Okay? But in 1996, Turner sold his networks to Time Warner for nearly $7.5 billion. $7.5 billion. Yeah, yes. He sold it to them for nearly about $7.5 billion. He stayed on as Time Warner's vice chairman. As a vice chairman of Time Warner, heading up the company's cable television networks. Guess who was shaped by the family tragedies? Only Ted would have. But he was born, real name Robert Edward Turner III. He was born in Cincinnati, Ohio on November the 19th, 1938. November 19th, 1938. At the age of 4, shortly after his sister's birth, his parents sent young Ted to a boarding school, which he didn't like. He said, I wanted to be home. Turner had a difficult relationship with his father, who had a weakness for alcohol and disciplined his son with a leather strap or a wire coat hanger. Turner Turner once recalled and said that it wasn't dangerous or anything like that. It just hurt like the devil. The family later moved to Savannah, Georgia, and his sister Mary Jean contracted a rare form of lupus when she was 12. When she was 12 years old, the illness left her with brain damage and in severe pain for years until she had passed away and died. Yeah, the illness left Mary Jean, Ted's sister, with brain damage and in severe pain for years until her death. She was sick for 5 years before she passed away, and it just seemed so unfair because she hadn't done anything wrong. But Turner has said that what had she done wrong, and I couldn't get any answers. Christianity couldn't give me any answers to that. So my faith got shaken somewhat. Turner was sent to several strict Southern military schools, and his father had hopes of him getting accepted to Harvard. He attended another Ivy League school like Brown University, but his father, Robert Edward Turner II, cut off his tuition because he disapproved of his major, as he made clear in a letter that he wrote to his son. Came from the late Robert Edward Turner II. It says, my dear son, I am appalled, even horrified, that you have adopted classics as a major. The elder Turner wrote, that's Robert Edward Turner II. I am a practical man, and for the life of me, I cannot possibly understand why you should wish to speak Greek. With whom will you communicate in Greek? This is what happened. See, you can read this. Oh, this is it's another one here. It says, "I think you are rapidly." Yeah, that's the words. Let me go read this, man. I think you are rapidly. Yeah, that's the word. I think you are rapidly becoming a jackass. And the sooner you get out of that filthy atmosphere, the better it will suit me. The better it will suit me. It's the old building, Turner Advertising Company and Turner Management Company. It's the old building. Right after the elder Turner died, Ted decided to take over the family business, Turner Advertising Company, and it was over the name Turner Management Company. Before long, the money ran out, and he dropped out, returning to Georgia to work for his father's billboard company in Macon, Georgia. Let me tell you, Turner was just 24 years old when his father shot himself and died in the upstairs bathroom at the family's home near Savannah. It was March the 5th, 1963, and the elder Turner, that's Robert Edward Turner II, was under the influence of alcohol and pills, battling depression, and worried that he had overextended himself with a $4 million purchase. A $4 million purchase that he just expanded his company, Turner Outdoor Advertising, into the South's largest billboard company. The South's largest billboard company, as well. And Turner said that he went against everything he taught me. Be courageous and hang in there. This is where he met actress Jane Fonda. This is where Ted Turner meet up with this actress here. Uh, at the peak of his career, Ted Turner, man, he's like a billionaire. He had twice divorced. He had been divorced twice with five grown children, and he started began dating a known actress named Jane Fonda in 1989. The two would marry. The two would marry in 1991 and tie the knot, and or at least of it, and at least become one of the nation's most storied couples in the history. But Jimmy Carter had mentioned this, and he had recalled as at first, man, they didn't get along at all. Recalled like it was recalled by Jimmy Carter, friends with Ted Turner, and he was used to be a president of this country. But in fact, they didn't like each other. Like this was has been said by this was been said by Jimmy Carter, who was friends with Turner, and who was like a president at the time previously. He said that in fact they didn't like each other. I heard this from both. Like, let's see what he said. Let me see what he said. Let me rephrase this. It was months later before they decided to try again, and they evolved. They evolved into one of the nicest romances that I've ever known about. There's a photo of Fonda, photo of Turner and Fonda in 1990 at the 62nd Academy Awards here. The 62nd annual Academy Awards. It was aired on March the 26th, 1990. This is Turner, holding hands with Fonda among all these people, the OGs, man, Ted and Jane. They could have stayed together for at least 10 years. And why they split? His anger at her conversion to Christianity was so blamed, but the truth was more nuanced. She simply could no longer take a back seat. Let me do this again. Jane Fonda can simply could no longer take a back seat to Ted Turner's to Ted Turner's larger than life personality, or sustain his need for her constant companionship as they shuttle between his 28 properties. She was pushing 60 and no longer interested in living out of a suitcase. This the words of Jane Fonda. I would I would never love anyone like I love him, but I just couldn't keep moving in his world along the surface. For the rest of my life, I knew that I would get to the end of my life and regret not doing the things that I also needed to do for me. He was devastated. Yep, that hurt Ted. He was devastated when she left him and his marriage ended. Turner's media empire began slipping away. Time Warner has agreed. Yes, Time Warner uh, had agreed to be purchased by the internet provider America Online in 2000. In 2000, with the hopes that the merger would help the legacy make. Let me see why I have to rephrase. What with the hopes that the merger would help the legacy media company survive and prosper during the dot-com boom period. This picture was taken like in the 90s. The picture was so taken in 1996 that he had sold it. He sold that company to Warner because he sold that company to Time Warner for like at least $7.34 billion that he became their vice chairman after the merger. But the internet bubble, the dot-com bubble had bursted in 2001. And the following year, the new AOL Time Warner sustained a record $99 billion loss. A record $99 billion loss, resulting in countless job cuts. It soon became known as the biggest mergers and the acquisitions failure in corporate history. Turner later resigned as America Online's Time Warner vice chairman. Yes, he resigned as AOL Time Warner's vice chairman in 2003, and 3 years later, he would not seek re-election to its board of directors. He lost control of everything else, man. Turner Broadcasting, CNN, the Atlanta Braves baseball team, the Hawks basketball team, and his fortune consisting mostly of the company stock. He was hemorrhaging. He was hemorrhaging more than $7 billion in 3 years. And Turner, Turner told Pierce Morgan. Turner had told Pierce Morgan and said that I lost Jane, I lost my job here, I lost my fortune, most of it. Got $1 billion or a billion or two left. He said that I lost Jane, I lost my job here, I lost my fortune, most of it. Got a billion or two left. You can get by on that if you economize. Yeah, Turner, he was brokenhearted. He Turner, yeah, he said that he was brokenhearted. He tried to win he tried to win back Jane, who was used to be his wife, but it was obvious that the relationship was beyond repair. We were so far apart philosophically, we couldn't do it. Despite the breakup, Fonda and Turner, Fonda and Turner always maintained a close friendship, speaking on the phone regularly and showing up at each other's charity events, not parties, but charity events. Fonda Fonda said this. Let me tell you about this. Jane Fonda said this. Just because people get divorced doesn't mean they stop loving each other. It may be hard for two people to live together, but I can't ever forget the reasons that made me fall in love with him. Turner explained everything, that he had loved many people, but only been in love twice. Once with Fonda and once with someone he wouldn't name. Being in love implies permanence. He said something he hadn't experienced in all of his relationships. Turner always had a philanthropic streak. He always had a philanthropic streak, but it all began to move to the forefront in 1997. In 1997, the year after he sold Turner Broadcasting to Time Warner, that's when he pledged $1 billion. $1 billion to the United Nations, making good on that pledge that he took it took him a while longer. It took him a while longer than he anticipated. He made his final payment to the UN in 2015, thanks to the beating his fortune took after the 2001 merger with America Online, AOL. When it was over, he was still a billionaire, but just barely. But just barely. Turner didn't do anything in a small way, including reinventing himself. He was the second biggest landowner in North America with 2 million acres spread across like over 28 properties, including 19 ranches in Nebraska, Colorado, Kansas, Montana, New Mexico, and South Dakota, as well as in what's it called, Argentina. In Argentina, the first of his Ted's Montana Grill restaurants. His Montana Grill restaurants opened in 2002, and now there are than 40 in there's more than 40 in like 16 states. He managed to bring bison back. He managed to bring back the bison. The bison. He had to bring it back from the brink of extinction. He had the world's largest private bison herd, the private bison herd, with approximately 51,000 a head. His five children, Rhett Turner, Laura, Laura Turner Sadell, Jenny Turner Gollington, Teddy Turner, and Bo Turner, serve on the board of the Turner Foundation. His other foundations included his United Nations Foundation, Nuclear Threat Initiative, Captain Planet Foundation, and the Turner Endangered Species Fund. Half a century ago, his father's suicide. The elder Turner's suicide thrust a $1 million billboard company that was into his hands. He often said that his father, who was 54 at the time he died, ran out of things to work toward. As a result, Turner was so driven relentlessly. Yes, Turner, a media baron that he was so driven relentlessly moving forward and never looking back. Yet, no matter how successful he became, Turner was often still trying to prove himself. Yep, man, Fonda, she had recalled on how she cried when Turner told her about his childhood on their second date. They were driving around his 60,000 acre ranch, his 60,000 acre ranch in Montana, and he was passing the time talking as he drove. Tears ran down her face. Yeah, yeah. So how he rode. That's how he rode the horse. That's how he rode the horse in 2011. His Flying D Ranch, Montana, circa 2011. He literally couldn't understand why I was crying when he told me stories about what his father did to him. She said that children can't blame their parents. It's always my fault. It's being done for my own good. I must not be good enough. Given his childhood, Fonda had mentioned and said that he should have become a dictator. He should have become a, means that's what happened. Uh, what Fonda was telling the people at CNN, she said that given his childhood, he should have become a dictator. He should have become not a nice person, a not nice person. The miracle is that he became what he is. A man, a man who will go to heaven, a man who will go to heaven, and there will be a lot of animals up there, a lot of animals up there welcoming him. The animals, the animals that have been brought back from the edge of extinction because of Ted. He's turned out to be a good guy, and he says that he's not religious, not at all. But the whole time I was with him, every speech, and he likes to give speeches. He's always a giver. He always ends his speech with God bless, and he'll get into heaven. He's a miracle. Rest in peace, Ted Turner. Rest in peace to Ted Turner. Shit. Goddamn, I miss this man, dude. I know he died. I didn't know he died on Wednesday. Shit. That fucks me up. Shit fucks me up. It fucks me up, man. When he died on Wednesday. That fucked me up. That started fucking me up. Hasn't even get y'all any content since my birthday party. I know you're missing out on some good content. We'll bring y'all some good content. Don't worry. I'll do it somehow. I might just do other live shows. Probably the next day I might do a live show based on Selena. Maybe. Probably a couple of days I might do one based on Selena. One of those days I will. One of those days I will. One of those days I will. Oh, I just rolled this up. I just rolled this up while I was in Iberville. Man, let me explain this to y'all that I never explained to y'all before. Ted Turner, I remember so quick. See, even though I knew what happened with the history, I remember when Vince McMahon went to he went on, you know what I'm saying? I think he appeared on this old NWA World Championship Wrestling show. I remembered it. I remembered it like it was yesterday. I do remember it. I remember it like it was yesterday. When he got featured on the NWA World Championship Wrestling show. It used to be on TBS. knew why. I knew the reason why. He appeared on there. I think it was a year after. It was a year after the expansion of the WWF. Yeah, right after the expansion of the WWF in 1984, when he brought a wrestling company. It was called Stampede Wrestling. It was a Calgary, Alberta, Canada-based wrestling promotion. It used to be ran by the late great Stuart Hart. And Stuart was an ex-wrestler. Stu was an ex-wrestler. He learned he learned to wrestle, but he ended up teaching young guys how to wrestle until 1987, 1988, when Vince McMahon wanted to sell, which was the NWA, which was uh, which was when it became of World Championship Wrestling. He wanted to sell it to James Crockett Jr. Even though Crockett had some financial issues, and then Ted Turner, man, he decided to take that shit over. So he purchased what happened to be Jim Crockett Promotions. Even though Crockett was about to go sell it to Ted Turner in 1987, 1988. Even though when Jim Ross was a part of the WCW committee. That happened. It happened when all the people were already at the Jim Crockett Promotions, which was before it became WCW. And Vince had gotten on the phone with Ted, and Ted tells Vince that he's in the wrestling business. And Vince replied to Ted. He was proud of Ted, but Vince especially is not in the wrestling business. He was in the sports entertainment business. So, so in 1988, Ted Turner had became an owner of World Championship Wrestling. World Championship Wrestling, WCW. See, they already had rebranded the Pro Show and the Power Show, and Saturday Night. It used to be NWA, Power, and Pro, and Saturday Night. The other show was WCW Worldwide, which used to be NWA Worldwide Wrestling. It's entertainment. It's entertainment to the masses. It's entertainment to the masses. Okay, it's all to the masses. It was so sad that Ted had to go, and he died on the 6th of this month. There's no mention of what caused him to die. But now Ted Turner, he's up there with the legs of his father and John F. Kennedy, who was like one of the previous presidents, one of the previous presidents. R.I.P. to Ted Turner, man. Let me go memorialize this man real quick. Oh shit. 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 Fuck. I just want to play Call of Duty, but not right now. I want to play Call of Duty. I just want to play Call of fucking Duty right now, but but I couldn't even get a chance to get there, get out to do it. I might do it. I might do it, but it's all because this stupid bullshit ass fucking rainy weather. I might just give it a chance and risk it. I might have to risk it anyway. Shit. I might have to risk it. Shit. But after I'm done with this fucking video, I need to like I need to like do something real quick. Oh yeah. Let me memorialize Mr. Turner. Oh yeah. Oh, Wednesday. I'm about to go restart this all-in-one PC here. This is what we're doing, folks. Let me dedicate this live stream here. All right, we're gonna dedicate this live stream in the memory or in the memoriam of Mr. Robert Edward Turner III, who was also known professionally as Ted Turner. Born on November the 19th, 1938, and died on May the 6th, 2026. Rest in peace, Robert Edward Ted Turner III.